often make structure function claims, which simply means if we sell a tablet that has calcium in it, I can say that calcium and magnesium help strengthen your bones and can help strengthen your immune system. Protein helps strengthen your muscles, which helps strengthen your immune system. But I would never say that our shake is going to, make sure that you don't get a cold. All right. So let's get into the presentation more. The first line of defense to support the immune system is healthy, active lifestyle. Okay. So what are the keys to having a healthy, active life? Well, it's very simple. And you're probably thinking, yeah, we know that. It's balanced nutrition, it's exercise, stress management, sleep, and this is a really important thing, the last thing, socialization. This is something we've been trying to figure out. As humans, we're all meant to be together. My father, he passed away 8 years ago. He loved to read books by himself. He wanted to just be in his room by himself. He didn't want to socialize. So he was unique. Most people, we find, really crave socialization. And more importantly, as we get old, we need to feel important, like we have utility, like we're useful. And many books have been written about this. When we study populations in South America, in Peru, if we study populations in Okinawa, Japan, we look at people who live to be 105, 110, and we wonder, how are they so healthy? We know it's a lot of healthy nutrition, like plant-based diets. We know it's physical activity, whether they're fishing, pulling in the fish, and we know it's feeling useful. So a lot of these societies, when people get very old, the young people embrace them. And this is a beautiful part of the culture of the Philippines, I've noticed. If you have a grandmother or a great-grandmother, they're welcomed into the home. A lot of the children want them to live with them. Whereas a lot in America, when people get old, they push them into nursing homes. And this is a beautiful part of the Filipino culture, to welcome in someone who's old because they're wise, they have wisdom, they have knowledge. This is an important part of socialization. Older people feel useful and they live longer when they feel useful. And that also affects their immune system. It makes it stronger because they're not stressed. A lot of research on this, and we don't know why, but it's incredible. So keep in mind, it's not just the vitamins and minerals, it's also the socialization of family in the unit, okay? Now, here's what we're talking about. If you look at the circle on your right-hand side, you'll notice sort of different colors of hydration and phytonutrients, fiber, protein, vitamins, and minerals. These are the elements that Herbalife Nutrition believes in that you need to eat every single day. Now, some of the things are basic. Everybody needs protein. Even the government of the Philippines, and just like every other government, would probably recommend a minimal amount of protein for adults and children. Everyone has to eat protein so we don't starve. But it also supports your immune system. But a lot of people don't understand. They know vitamins and minerals and fiber, but they may not know about the green area, the phytonutrients. And we're going to have a question, I think, about that later. But phytonutrients are something we'll talk about. These are the nutrients that are natural in fruits and vegetables, like a tomato. The red pigment called lycopene helps to support your immune system. So these are the key elements, the 6 elements of our nutrition philosophy. And Herbalife is really based on covering all of these areas. We don't just sell protein, we don't just sell fiber. We blend everything together and we personalize it for your needs. And this is kind of what we do in the company. Cellular science, you'll notice to the far left, is simply understanding, it's our way of saying that we have the best quality ingredients. We know a lot of people grow soy protein, but we try and get the best soy protein which is very high quality, and we try and understand where it comes from in the source. The same thing with our green tea or the aloe vera. So I don't want to spend too much time on this and get you bored, but I want you to understand there's a philosophy that we believe in, okay? Now, we also believe that there are large nutrients you have to eat every day called the macronutrients, okay? You got to have those. You have to have protein in a minimal amount every day. And then there are micronutrients, like the vitamins and minerals, because your body does not make vitamin A. It doesn't make vitamin C. You have to eat them. And this is an interesting thing. Whether God created us this way, Mother Nature, however your argument is, we as humans have vision for color. A lot of animals don't have color vision. And scientists believe that we developed vision, color vision, to pick out these beautiful fruits and vegetables in the garden or in the market or, of course, in the wild for thousands of years, right? So it's a beautiful thing. We need vitamins and minerals because those are naturally found in fruits and vegetables, and this is why we look for different colors, all right? And that leads me to the third point, the phytonutrients. Those are the colorful pigments that you find in a carrot or a tomato or a blueberry, and they not only support your immune system, they also affect something called the microbiome, which we'll talk about later, okay? So let's move on to the first chapter, protein. Now, I often joke with my colleagues, the Philippines is a very big market for us in Herbalife Nutrition, which means it generates a lot of revenue. We have literally thousands and thousands of members who sell the products. And part of what they do is they like to talk about their results on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. Probably many of the channels that you as reporters will use when you're getting the messages out. And what I often joke about is I'll look at some of the messaging and I'll see the before and after photo. You know, someone says, "Oh, I had my first baby, and I've been managing my weight and exercising, and now I'm using Herbalife products." And they'll show the before and after. And, you know, they often show muscles and, you know, their six-pack and their abdominal muscles. And it's beautiful because they're very proud of their testimonials. But what I often say is when you look at Instagram, what you're looking at is the effects of protein. Whenever you're looking at Facebook and the people are showing off their photos, it's the effects of protein. Because protein is probably the most important nutrient when we're talking about your immune health. We know, research has shown, as people get older, and all of us do this, I'm 51 years of age, as I get older, I exercise every day, but it's hard to build muscle. I'm fighting and I'm eating my protein, and I know it's different than it was 20 years ago. And as we naturally age, the muscle declines, the muscle mass declines, and with that, there's an association of the immune system declining, which means I am not able to fight off the colds and viruses and bacteria as well if I don't stay in good shape. So it's important to keep your muscle, your lean muscle mass, maintain it as you age because there's a natural decline. This is probably one of the most important parts of your immune health and healthy aging. So what builds healthy muscle? Protein. And this is why so many companies are focused on the protein amount that they offer in their products. And of course, probably 50% of Herbalife's revenue, and we do billions of dollars every year, almost 6 billion, 50% of that is in protein. We sell a tremendous amount of protein. So we're very good at talking to people about healthy nutrition and supporting with protein. But I just want you to understand, as journalists, that it's important that you get your recommended amount. Now, the government does a very good job in the Philippines of establishing a minimum for children. It's usually called the recommended daily intake or the recommended daily amount. And whatever that is, the RDI or RDA, we follow very conservative principles. We are not a high protein diet. We like to have a conservative amount. And the reason we like that is because we know that people will supplement with a product like our shakes for breakfast or for a snack, and they'll add some of the protein powder to boost it, and they can add in fresh fruits and vegetables, or they can sprinkle it in their breakfast cereal. And the important thing is it will help support lean muscle mass, and it allows the body, when you get protein, to make antibodies, which are the things that fight off viruses and bacteria. And the antibodies are very important. You're making them right now as you're listening to me. So, to make this simple, protein is essential. We have to eat it. We can't just make it from breathing air. You have to eat it from food, and you need good sources of food. Now, I'd like to go back to my point about what your grandmother and grandfather ate. They probably ate lots of lean sources of protein from plants and animals, maybe chicken, fish, meat. Nowadays, much of the meat, we know because the meat shelf life is processed with a lot of additives. There's a lot of things that may grow in the meats, bacteria and different things, which can cause problems in the immune system. So we see a lot of different things that affect the immune system with the current diet. But just understand, protein is crucial for not only adults, for older adults and younger adults. Okay, so protein's crucial. It helps to support your muscle, and it builds and it helps to make the antibodies. Okay, we're very proud of our shake because when you compare it, it's 2 scoops of powder that you can mix in, let's say, milk or water, or with your, like I said, your soup or breakfast cereal. People do a lot of different things, but it has the equivalent of a carrot, the vitamin A equivalent of a medium cooked carrot, or it has the equivalent amount of calcium as 2 cups of cottage cheese. 3 from very reputable suppliers. Okay, so this is important. You understand that it's not just powdered with protein. It has a whole spectrum of vitamins, minerals, and trace elements. Okay, let me move on. So we finished probably the most important. I spend a lot of time on protein. I promise I won't spend as much time on the other chapters because I want to make sure that you're staying engaged. But of the 6 chapters, we're on number 2, which is fats, and I'll do this very quickly. For many years, people thought fat was bad. Like, I don't want to eat fat because it might get into my body and I'll absorb fat. Well, it turns out fat is essential. Fat is important for your brain. Right now, as you're processing all this information, your brain is about 40 to 45% fats. And much of your brain is made of the omega-3 fats that you get from fish, you get from flaxseed or chia seed, different plants. So omega-3s are very important. Now, here's the problem. Now, as I mentioned before, your grandmother and grandfather probably ate a very nice balance of omega-3 fats, which tends to reduce inflammation in the diet, and omega-6 fats, which are in meat and grains. They tend to promote inflammation. So your grandmother and grandfather probably ate a nice balance of the two. Here's the problem with what's happening in the Philippines today and all around the world. The omega-6 fats, which promote inflammation, are about 20 times higher than the omega-3 fats. And the omega-3 fats are relatively low. So people are not eating enough fresh fish or flaxseed, chia seed, different vegetables. And they're eating too many processed foods because omega-6 are very good at giving shelf life. So foods can stay in the market a long time. But this is very bad for the immune system. It causes a lot of inflammation. It causes everything: heart disease, cancer, dementia in the brain, diabetes. We think everything, almost all chronic diseases, are related to this imbalance in the food supply. Not just the Philippines, all around the world, but particularly in Asia Pacific. So what can we do? Eat like our grandparents, reduce the omega-6s and increase the omega-3s, and that's when inflammation goes down and the immune system really flourishes, okay? So it's a very simple concept, balancing these 2 fats, but as you study these, and it's going to be a big topic. In fact, a lot of laboratories are figuring out how to test this omega-3-6 ratio in the blood. So if you go to see your doctor, you can check for diabetes and heart monitors or heart markers. You're soon going to be able to check for this balance of omega-3-6. It's going to be a big marker, and studies have shown when people get the omega-6 low, they live much longer because they have a healthy immune system, okay? So fat and immunity, as I just mentioned, it promotes inflammation when you get the bad fat because it weakens the immune system. We recommend up to 30% of your calories and we want a higher proportion of the healthy fats, the omega-3s. And of course, we also believe that omega-3 fats help support the immune system, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, so I'm going to keep moving on. And here's our healthy fat product. We actually sell a lot of this particular product. It's called Herbalife line. And I don't want to be a salesman and promote the product right now. But the idea is that it's a phenomenal product because people can take it and help supplement. So a lot of research has looked at, well, what if I just eat fish every day? Fantastic. In fact, if you eat fish, try and eat very small fish like sardines, because those small fish don't go through the food chain of a bigger fish and a bigger fish and a bigger fish. So there's not a lot of mercury, heavy metals, or other things called PCBs, these toxins that are in the ocean. So if you eat fish, eat sardines or anchovies, very small fish, on a salad, excellent source. And I know in the Philippines you have excellent opportunities to eat good fish. However, a lot of people are busy. Journalists are probably busy running around, reporting the news, getting stories. You may not have fresh fish every day. So take an omega-3 supplement, and we take the fresh fish oil and we filter out the mercury with a charcoal filter. It's very sophisticated. Most companies know how to do this. We spend the extra money to make sure we have pure, clean omega-3 fish oil. So this is very exciting. We love this product because it's got, thyme and peppermint and clove, and it tastes very nice, and people can use it. But just again, omega-6 ratio, reduce the omega-6s and increase the omega-3s. Okay, so we've done the protein and fats, now we're on the fiber. Now, fiber is really important because most people are not getting sufficient fiber. In the Philippines, the average recommendation is probably around 30 grams per day. This is in line with global recommendations. Most people are probably getting about half that, about 14 to 15 grams a day. That includes adults, older adults, and children. Usually for older adults, it's even worse because they're not eating as much fresh fruits and vegetables. They may take fiber supplements, but that doesn't help because they're often dehydrated, something we'll talk about in the Q&A. But fiber sources are varied. So whether it's nuts, soybeans, soup from lentils, you name it, oats, there's great ways to get fiber, but we know that a lot of people are not getting enough. So how does fiber affect your immune system? Well, it boosts the production of something called interleukin-4, which is a protein that stimulates the production of T cells, which fight inflammation. You don't fight infection. You don't have to worry about all the technical stuff. Just understand more fiber will help support the immune system. Now, you don't want to have too much fiber because it makes people very gassy, and it causes discomfort in the abdomen. If they're having 60 grams, it's too much. 35 grams is really the sweet spot. And people notice they feel better, they have more regularity when they go to the bathroom, and things improve. So there's lots of evidence that soluble fiber can modulate various parts of the immune system in the gut, which I'll talk about later. And here's some of our products. We just wanted to show you sort of some of the things that we offer: Fiber and Herb and Fiber Bond. This is really about adequate fiber intake to support digestive health. This may sound strange, but believe it or not, as I mentioned, before you're born, you have no bacteria. As soon as you're born, you have bacteria lining the gut, and there's mostly good bacteria, but there's some bad ones like E. coli. The good ones are always trying to keep the bad ones in check and kill them with something called short-chain fatty acids. When you eat fiber, like fiber supplements, or you have oatmeal, the fiber supplements, when you eat an apple, the fiber goes down the tube, the gut. It feeds the healthy bacteria, which are lining the gut. And when those healthy bacteria eat that fiber, they make these short-chain fatty acids, which kill the bad bacteria. That's how it works. It's amazing. And this supports your immune system. So make sure you're getting your fiber every day. I know it's boring, but it's a really important part of your health. Now, another way to supplement your healthy bacteria is to eat more. Going back to your grandmother and grandfather, when they ate food, let's say in the 1940s, 1950s, it had healthy bacteria in it. If they eat a piece of chicken, a piece of beef, if they got it probably from a farm, a fresh piece of meat, it had healthy bacteria. And when they eat the bacteria, it would help strengthen the gut immune system. Now, the way food is prepared, believe it or not, when you have a nice filet mignon steak, they actually zap it with radiation to kill all the bacteria, because you don't want a bacteria with steak, because they have to transport it from one city to another in the Philippines and then serve it at the restaurant. So most of the food doesn't have any natural bacteria anymore. So we are not getting the healthy bacteria that our grandparents used to get in the diet. And that's not good for your immune system. That's why a lot of people are sick. So How can you supplement with healthy bacteria? It's called probiotic. Now, many of you probably have yogurt, which is fantastic. If not, or if you're having yogurt, in addition, you can have a probiotic powder, which this is something that we offer, and it helps with building up the friendly bacterial growth in your gut. Helps to balance the microbiome and keep the bad bacteria at bay. Okay, so this is a particular product that I'd like to share. No refrigeration needed. One scoop, there's like 30 servings. Very small amount of calories, only 4 calories, and there's no sugar, sweeteners, or colors. But the important thing is that many companies are offering these probiotics, and you're going to hear a lot more about this. It's the new area of science as it applies to human nutrition and immune system health. Okay, so we finished protein, fats, and fiber. Now we're on to vitamins and minerals, chapter 4, and we just have 2 more and we're done. Vitamins and minerals are important. As I mentioned earlier, we do not make them. Right now, you're sitting there, you need vitamin C every day. You need vitamin D. The vitamin D is unique because when you go outside in the sun, your body can manufacture vitamin D. But as journalists, many of you are probably busy working on the computer indoors, especially in the last 12 months to a year. We've been indoors a lot. So we're not going out and even getting the vitamin D we need. We know that in every country, particularly in the Philippines and most sort of big developed countries like the Philippines, magnesium deficiency, calcium deficiency, vitamin D. These are big issues which tie in with people's immune health. So you must eat your vitamins every day. We want you to eat fruits and vegetables, but a lot of people aren't. So we know that if you're not getting a diet rich in fruits and vegetables to support the immune system, we need to figure out a way to supplement. Most governments agree if you can get 5 servings of your fruits and vegetables in the diet, you'll be probably okay. We actually think 7 is better, 7 to 9, but we know that most people aren't even getting 5. And a lot of research shows, and this is probably happening in the Philippines, the most commonly eaten fruits and vegetables, because of the growth of Western food like hamburgers and all these things, are the lettuce that people put on hamburgers, the tomatoes that people put on hamburgers, and the potatoes for fried French fries. These are 3 of the most commonly eaten fruits and vegetables around the world. Definitely in the United States. Those are the 3 most common. So that's really scary because French fries and hamburgers are not a good way to get your fruits and vegetables and vitamins, okay? So remember, you need the vitamins A, C, E, D. You need minerals such as zinc, selenium, iron, and copper, and you've got to keep those in balance, okay? And I think I'm going to finish with phytonutrients, so I won't do hydration for this talk. So I think I'll just finish with this one. I believe this is one of the last slides. Phytonutrients, as I mentioned, talking about the tomato, they are simply the colorful pigments that you find in fruits and vegetables. So when you eat a blueberry or an avocado, the lutein, which is a pigment inside that avocado or that blueberry, can help get into the eyes and protect your eyes from macular degeneration, which is the leading cause of blindness in most countries. So phytonutrients are powerful. The red in the tomatoes, the lycopene, helps to protect the breast tissue in women and the prostate tissue in men from certain cancers. We don't know why. We just believe that this is something that was developed when the fruits and vegetables were created, but it's incredible. We are meant to eat these nutrients, these phytonutrients, and we're just trying to figure out in what amounts. We haven't figured it out yet. We know, the government knows how much vitamin C we need. We have that recommended amount. The government knows how much protein we need, but we don't know how many tomatoes we need yet. Okay, so this is a lot of research going on, and when people can figure that out, it's going to be a brand new area of nutrition and medicine because it will cut disease risk really down because people are going to be eating their fruits and vegetables probably in tablet forms and powders. Okay, hopefully whole foods like we advocate, but supplements as well. Okay, all right, so now I'm done with those 5 of the 6 chapters. I'm just going to touch on stress and sleep and exercise, and then we'll stop the presentation and we'll do your questions, okay? As I mentioned earlier, as I talked about the stress of daily life, and I have 2 young children. My daughter is 7.5. My son just turned 6. I'm in my office, which is the extra bedroom, but I know that they're going to be getting ready for bed because here in California, it's almost 8 o'clock at night. And often when I'm working, they're running around and I can hear them when I'm trying to do a Zoom call with many of you, and it stresses us out, right? We're like, oh, we need to get some work done. But that's one type of stress from work, trying to make sure you get the job done. But remember, as we're talking about healthy aging on this particular Zoom call, there is stress as people get older. If they lose a loved one, my father passed away. My mother is 89 years old, and I try and visit her every week and bring her food, and we talk, and she lives with my brother. But I know she feels stress when she's alone in the house when my brother goes to work, because she doesn't have anything to do. She doesn't work. She can't drive. So we try and keep her busy. That causes older people a lot of stress. So they need to feel useful. We all need to feel useful, not just taking our vitamins, but it's a big part of helping to strengthen our immune system. We know when people get sick, and I see them when I used to see them in the emergency room in the hospital, when I'd see an older individual, I'd often ask the family, they say, oh, they're sick, they caught a cold or a virus, so I think they have pneumonia. And I ask them first about their diet. After we get them on the medication to fix them, I ask, what is your grandmother eating at home? And we always hear something, and many of you who work in healthcare have heard this, we call it the tea and toast diet. Our grandparents lose a lot of their appetite, and they're not eating all these fresh fruits and vegetables and steak. They just want a cup of tea, some crackers or biscuits and bread, and that weakens the immune system because they're not getting the vitamins and minerals. And they get constipated, and then they get lonely. And so the tea and toast diet, we see it in the hospital. I quickly get good nutrition in them. We get them on an exercise program, and you see the change immediately. But stress management is a big part of it, okay? And stress is related to all these different hormones, whether it's adrenaline or cortisol or dopamine, serotonin. We won't talk about these in this particular lecture, but just understand that your body is very connected to the different ways of stress, whether it's the kids running around or being alone is very stressful, or stress at work or sitting on the freeway, whatever it may be, or not being able to go outside during a pandemic. It's very stressful, okay? Next slide. Okay, so the stresses of aging we talked about, loss of strength, loss of muscle mass. This is why when I talk to older individuals like grandparents, I tell them you've got to drink a shake or get protein in any way you can. So it's hard for me to give a steak to my mom every day or a big piece of chicken, but I can give her a shake. That's what I do. I give her the Herbalife shakes. I prepare shakes. My brother makes the shakes. She drinks it like it's a milkshake, 25 grams of protein, helps to satisfy her muscles, and she can walk around the house and be stronger. Mood and memory is very important. Social isolation we talked about, and of course, financial insecurity is very stressful. I don't know if you're dealing with this in the Philippines. We're dealing with this in America. People are living longer, so they have to work longer because they're living longer than their money. And they don't have money, and a lot of children, the kids are not working as much when they get out of school, and they have a lot of debt. This is causing a lot of stress, and we have a lot of problems in the United States. Hopefully in the Philippines you're dealing with these levels of stress, but it affects the immune system and it affects aging. Okay, on to exercise. Exercise is very important because it burns calories, boosts energy, helps support the heart, the heart markers like your good cholesterol, promotes better sleep, and it helps to connect to other people. If you're running and being at the gym. Now the important thing is we want you to do it consistently. So 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week if you can. I exercise about 1.5 hours every day because I take it very seriously because I'm getting older, I should say. But I want to reverse that process of losing my muscle. So I supplement with all my Herbalife products, and I try and stay very fit if I can. So 30 minutes a day if you can, 75 minutes of vigorous exercise. There's a lot of research done on people who are 85 years of age, who are in the nursing homes, the grandparents and great-grandparents that people thought they have no strength, their memory is very bad. And interesting research was done where they would give them exercise, we call vigorous exercise. They would lift weights, small weights. They would lift weights and they would build strength. And what happened? They were able to get out of bed. They were able to brush their own hair. They were able to go to the bathroom by themselves, to lift themselves up. They can eat by themselves. The nurses didn't need to help them. And then something really interesting started happening. They were able to manage their own finances. They could go home and cook. So Building a little bit of lean muscle mass, even in people who are very old, since we're talking about healthy aging, not only supports the immune system, it's very important for getting people independent, okay? So exercise, walk, run, dance. We want you to do anything that you enjoy that can be social and fun. And of course, if you can do yoga, Pilates, you don't have to lift heavy weights and look like a big weightlifter. We just want you to stress the muscles and the bones a little bit, okay? So planning your exercise regimen is very important. And of course, we're going to mention this in the Q&A, which we're doing right now, getting plenty of sleep. 7 to 8 hours of good sleep. I have young children. They wake us up at 6 in the morning, 6:30. I never sleep 8 hours, but I try and get them to bed early and get sleep as soon as I finish my work. So any way that you can get your 7, 8 hours, package it together, it's important. Engage in stimulating activities. This helps to support your immune system. Reading, being interested in a project, new learning. It doesn't matter what your age is. If you're learning a new skill, it strengthens your immune system, believe it or not. Finding time to relax is very difficult, especially during this last year. But if you can find quiet time where you're by yourself, you can meditate, you can do whatever you like, but it's important that you have time to yourself because that releases stress. Even if you're just going for a walk and you have some music in your ears or a book you're listening to. And of course, social activities. Herbalife hosts these nutrition clubs. We have these thousands of activity centers around the world where our members talk about the products and they serve the products. If you can go to those, you can do a group activity, be in a book club, or do group games. Okay, so we're coming towards the end of the presentation here. I just want to mention something about the company. The products that we make are very high quality, and I'm very proud of that, being a spokesperson for the company. And you don't have to believe me. You can look at the ingredients, you can check the label, and you can do research on some of our suppliers. We're very transparent about it. But the great thing about Herbalife is that we like to share this information with everybody. A lot of companies don't share this information because the vitamin and mineral business has a very good side of it, which is where we work, and it has a little bit of a shady side, a little dirty side, where people try and sell cheap things that are not very healthy. And a lot of journalists like yourselves are finding out these bad companies, these bad operators, and they're publishing information. We are, of course, one of the, I believe, the best companies that offer great nutrition because we have very good suppliers, or we grow our own crops. We monitor our own green tea fields in China. We monitor our own aloe vera fields in Mexico. We know the farmers who grow the soybean in North America. We know a lot of different things about the actual raw materials, and we check on that and we test it. So just understand we have great ingredients and we test for that. Okay. Now this is our team of scientists here in the corporate office in the United States. We have a huge team of folks. We're very proud of our corporate members, but these are just the wide variety of folks. We actually have a Nobel Prize winner, if you'll notice this gentleman, Lou Ignarro. He's a PhD and he won the Nobel Prize in Medicine and Physiology in 1998. We're very proud of that because he also makes products for the company. He makes a product called Nightworks, and the fish oil that I shared with you, he endorses that product and worked on the technology. So we have a wide variety of doctors, nurses, dietitians, biochemists. But what's wonderful is not just about the United States. We have a global team, whether it's Peru, Korea, Taiwan, China, Romania, Hong Kong. You can find people all around the world, Thailand. It doesn't matter. We have our specialists working in the field. And many of these specialists are university doctors who consult with the company. So they primarily work with the university and they work for us as consultants. They don't work full-time like me, okay? And of course we have a group of dietitians all around the world, especially in Asia Pacific. It's probably our strongest region. And we're very proud of these dietitians because they're the ones who are on the forefront of training, okay? So I'm going to end with 2 slides. One is a picture of our founder, Mark Hughes, who was not a doctor. He wasn't a formally educated man, but he was a very nice man. He was, actually, I never met him, but people tell me he was one of the nicest guys you would meet. He was very generous. And whenever I come to the Philippines, I can't explain how wonderful of a culture in the Philippines There is. I really don't. I don't know enough of the history, but all of the professionals, all of the doctors and nurses that I've worked with around the world, but particularly here in Los Angeles, they are the nicest people. And if they're so professional, so smart, but so nice. And I often think Mark Hughes, if he had lived in the Philippines, he would love your country and culture because you're so gracious, you show so much grace to other people, and you're so professional and knowledgeable. So that's what I love about coming to the Philippines. We always have wonderful discussions on science. And I'm going to finish with and brag a little bit about our company. We're the number one company in the world in meal replacements and protein supplements when you combine those. And we're also the number one in the world in weight management and well-being when you consider us as a brand of products. We're very proud of that. So I'll stop sharing there. I said a lot, and I hope I didn't bore you, but I wanted to give you a lot of this information. So I will stop talking because I've been talking almost for an hour. I think, Anna, should I go back to you for the question? Or Marie or Anna? I'll welcome you back, and I hope that was...
Thank you, Dr. Luigi. That was very, very insightful. I'm sure everyone learned a lot today. Thank you for reminding us that it's not just good nutrition, but an active lifestyle as well that should work together to strengthen our immune system. I like how you reminded us that we have control over our health, because sometimes it's easy to say, I have no choice over the matter, right? So thank you for reminding us about that, and that it's really the choices that we make, from the food that we eat to the daily activities that we do. And thank you for the practical tips as well. Personally, for me, I appreciated knowing the difference between omega-3 and omega-6. That's one thing that I just learned earlier. And also, my favorite key takeaway would be the importance of socialization in overall immune health. It's important, it's important to know that we thrive with other people, and that we have to maintain good relationships, and that we need to have a sense of purpose even as we grow older. So thank you for sharing also some of the latest studies in the field of health and nutrition. I think that everyone here today is more inspired and ready to make better choices with our food, and our lifestyle to supercharge our immune health. So we will make sure to fuel our bodies with the right nutrients, take care of our mental and physical health, stay stress-free, get sleep, exercise, and dance. So before we open our question and answer segment, let's have one last interactive survey. Can you help me flash it on the screen? All right. So the question is, are you more inclined to take vitamins and health supplements after learning of its benefits? So you can answer yes, I'm more inclined, or no, I would like to receive additional information to help me decide. So I think polling is closed, so we can share the results. All right. So 100% said yes, I am more inclined to take supplements. That's good. Remember Herbalife Nutrition's philosophy to support our immune system. We need micronutrients daily along with our macro and phytonutrients for optimal health. So let's now open the floor for questions from our media friends. I think Dr. Luigi is very ready to answer it. What's the first question? Can someone flash?
Hi, good morning.
Hi, Miss Annabelle. You can ask away.
Hi, good morning.
Miss Annabelle?
I think you're on mute.
Is she on mute?
I think
Miss
you're on mute.
Annabelle, hi.
Am I clear now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good morning to all of us. Dr. Gratton, thank you so much for the very informative discussion panel presentation you have today. I am more inclined in having supplements in my daily life. So my question po, nutrition plays a critical role in supporting our overall health and immune development. So how can we take effective steps to get all the necessary nutrients we need on a daily basis? Like for example, me, you are so true that most of us media don't have time not to go out. We're always in front of our laptop, computer to write our stories po. Please help us. Thank you.
It's a wonderful question. Thank you, Annabelle. I hope I can call you. Feel free to call me Luigi. I consider you all colleagues. It's a wonderful question. I think it's important, we discussed in the presentation all those different nutrients. And we know this isn't what we made up. Science has established that your body needs protein. And again, the government in the Philippines protects the consumers, and especially children, but also older adults, by saying you have to have a certain amount of protein. You need to have vitamins. And you'll notice on food labels, that's why they put the recommended daily intake on the food label. That's the government's way of saying, hey, if you're having a fruit juice, you're getting this much vitamin C, but you still need a little bit more. So to your question, how do we know how much to take? There are certain recommendations, and this is what our company promotes. The problem is, as much as the governments in America, the Philippines, Brazil, as much as they promote, it's very hard for busy consumers to take time to get fresh fruits, vegetables, or even supplements. They're busy. Everybody's so busy and stressed these days, right? And the pandemic certainly hasn't helped anybody. It's interesting, I'll just mention this one thing, Annabelle, to your question. As soon as the pandemic started, I have a colleague, because I went to medical school in New York, a place called Mount Sinai. I have a colleague who's a doctor. He called me and he said, because New York really got hit hard first in America, and a lot of people died, and everyone was looking for zinc, the mineral zinc. He couldn't find any zinc in the store. It was all gone. He'd go to every store. He needed zinc for his children, and because a lot of the research showed early on that if you supplement with zinc, it would actually reduce the severity of the corona symptoms. Okay, so again, I'm not making any disease claims, but it was an interesting story, and I said, oh my gosh, we have zinc in our Herbalife products. And I sent him some products, some vitamins and the shake, and because we have lots of zinc. So it's such a basic nutrient. But everyone in New York was going crazy. They couldn't find any zinc in the stores because everyone bought it and there was nowhere to find it. So it's just finding the right balance of foods, or planning with correct supplementation with the right things to meet those goals. I think the pandemic has been very difficult on so many of us with families, but it's raised our awareness, especially you as journalists. It's raised our awareness now that, okay, I've got to eat my fruits and vegetables, I have to eat fresh food, and I can supplement with a daily multivitamin, with a fish oil, small things which will quickly get your body up to the amount it needs to fight off colds and viruses and all these things. The information is very clear and the research has shown. So I guess to answer your question, the government has determined the levels, but we're all very busy, so we just need to find easy ways to meet that criteria. Preparing foods on the weekend before, fresh foods, or supplementing, as I do every day, with a shake and all my tablets and fish oil. So I hope that answers your question. I think it's just a matter of being thoughtful and taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Annabelle. Can I now call on Sir Ryan Bugis for the next question? Mr. Ron Ryan, are you there?
Yeah, hello. Hello.
Hi.
Our question is, why is gut health a key component of immune defense? And how can probiotics help in further improving overall immune response? Thank you.
Wonderful question, Ron Ryan. Thank you. And this is, as you as journalists know, the last 15 years in science has been about the human genome. We're understanding the genes which can cause diabetes, the genes which can lead to certain cancers, the genes which can lead to obesity or different conditions, depression or schizophrenia. So many people have mapped out the genome. The new area is going to be the microbiome. And it sounds very strange, but this is the bacteria that are in our gut, because you're asking about gut health. But believe it or not, there's different bacteria in my nose relative to my mouth, relative to my armpits or my shoulder blades. The bacteria, they all have different functions in our body, and we don't know why they're there, but that's what we're trying to figure out. So we figured out the human genome. Now we're figuring out the microbiome. That's going to be the next thing. And we're trying to figure out, why is E. coli in our gut? Like, what does it do there? And what's the right amount? Now, when we figure this out, it's going to take probably many years and a lot of science. But when we figure out the right balance, and this goes back to what our grandparents ate, because what our grandparents ate was fresh food that didn't have radiation to treat the meat or the chicken or the fish to kill the bacteria. It didn't have, the crops that were grown in the fields didn't have a lot of the pesticides that would kill the bacteria that's natural in your carrots and your apples and your blueberries and avocados. So the food was very different 2 or 3 generations ago. So to answer your question, the bacteria that is in the gut helps to defend our immune system. It actually communicates with your brain, with your heart, with your liver. We don't know why. We're still figuring out, but we know it does. But the most important thing for this lecture, and to your question, we know what the bacteria likes to eat, okay? And it likes to eat fiber. And again, whether it's a banana or a potato or oatmeal, when you eat those things, and lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, they feed the bacteria. The bacteria make, again, those short-chain fatty acids. You can Google them. They're very interesting. And those short-chain fatty acids kill the bad bacteria. And that's what keeps your gut in balance. So long answer to just say, eat lots of fiber, take your probiotics and your yogurt, whatever you like. And of course, your vitamins and minerals will help as well. So thank you for that excellent question. Lots of science is going to be coming on the microbiome. Stay tuned. There's going to be a big area for that.
All right. Thank you, Sir Ron Ryan. May I now call on Sir Nonoy Taclino for the next question. Okay, Sir, I'll get back to you later, Sir Nonoy. How about Sir Justin Adrales? Sir Justin. Okay, how about Mr. Rocky Batara?
Hello. Hello po.
Can
Hello.
maybe
Hello.
Yeah.
You can hear me now.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Hello.
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, hi Rocky. I
Hello.
can hear
You can hear me
clearly.
now. Okay.
Yes.
So we always say that a good night's sleep will also give us a healthy body and a strong immune system. So my question goes, what is the relationship between a good night's sleep and a strong immune system?
Thank you. Thank you for your question, Rocky. This is an excellent question. They're all excellent questions, by the way. Thank you. They're very well thought out. So it's interesting when you sleep, and I know it's evening time here in California, but tonight when you all go to sleep, your brain does incredible things. And one of the amazing things you do is your brain goes into levels of sleep, basically 4 levels of sleep. We try and keep it easy, but it goes from a light sleep to deeper, deeper, deeper. And what you're doing at night is, as you dream, or as you sleep, you're cycling through stage 1, 2, 3, 4, back to 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going through these cycles every hour, more or less 45 minutes to an hour, maybe a little shorter, a little longer. And as you go through these very deep levels, your brain secretes certain things, chemicals, natural chemicals. And some of those chemicals are called cytokines. So a cytokine is basically a protein that your body makes that fights viruses, bacteria, the common cold. It's amazing. So when you're getting good sleep, and you're journalists, and you're busy, and you're stressed, and you're meeting deadlines and writing things, so when you're not sleeping a lot, let's say you're only getting 3 or 4 hours a night for 1 week, 2 weeks, you're not making a lot of these cytokines. Your brain doesn't have time to make a lot of them, so there's less of these antibodies going to fight the bacteria, viruses, and fungus that can get in your body. And that's why people are like, oh, I haven't slept, and then they catch a cold, or they get a virus or a flu. So it's basically this connection. There's a lot of other things involved, but that's probably the most direct thing, Rocky, that really affects the immune system. So getting a good night's sleep makes you feel refreshed, but it also gets your body's immune system very strong. Thank you for the question.
And follow up on that, how about for the night shift or graveyard shift like us, wherein our good night's sleep is in the morning? Is there an effect on our immune system for that, since our reverse time?
Great. It's a great question, and there have been some studies done on this. I don't know the studies very well, but for the most part, if you're getting, let's say, 8 hours of sleep, and you're sleeping, let's do in the graveyard, and you sleep during the day, it's fine. Your body will still make the cytokines. It will still make those. But I will say, and this is again the plan of Mother Nature and God, right? We seem to do better when we follow the pattern of the sun and the moon. It's interesting, when the sun goes down, your body tonight, Rocky, your brain immediately starts to make something called melatonin. Yes. You probably heard of melatonin. So your brain immediately starts making it as soon as the sun's gone, because as soon as the light is gone, your brain says, okay, and melatonin helps you sleep very deep. So when you're sleeping during the day, and if you have the window open and you're trying to sleep and some sunlight's coming in, and your brain is making less melatonin, you're getting not as a deep sleep, and you're not making as much as the cytokines. So it's not the best sleep, but if you're getting, if you close the shades and you simulate a dark, deep sleep, then it's good. But for the most part, we try and follow the sun and the moon if we can, and if not, we try and create an artificial environment that looks like you're actually at, it's nighttime.
Okay, so we need to imitate the night.
Great question.
To get that.
If we can, yeah. So as journalists, you should close the shade, cover up the windows, make sure it's very dark if you're doing the graveyard shift and sleeping during the day. I know you've all, as doctors, we've done this many times, to try and make the room really, really dark, but you'll sleep deeper and feel more refreshed.
Okay, so thank you, Luigi, and we'll follow all those advice. Thank you.
Your question.
Thank you, Sir Rocky. May I now call on Sir Nonoy Takino for the next question?
Hi everyone. Hello, Sir Dr. Luigi.
Hello. Hi. Nice to meet you.
My question is, as we grow older, it appears that our immune response capacity is reduced, which leads to more infections and diseases. Now, how can supplements help us build higher immunity as we age, so that we lower chances of us getting sick?
Thank you, sir. No, it's another excellent question. As I said, these are all fantastic questions. So age, because we're discussing healthy aging in the talk, I think it's really important to remember muscle is such an important part of it. So remember, we talked about the older individuals who they lift weights and then they get more independent. Well, also, as I mentioned earlier, the association of your muscle in your body is very closely associated to your immune strength or your immune health. And we're not sure exactly why. The best reason we think, imagine if I'm about 100 kilos. Imagine I go on a boat and I get stuck on an island and there's not a lot of food. So I start to starve. I'm trying to eat my fish and coconuts and insects, anything I can eat, but my muscle, there's not a lot of protein, so my muscle starts to decrease and decrease. The first thing we notice is people get infections, pneumonia, colds, viruses, flus, and that's because the muscle, which is made of protein, I can't make those antibodies anymore, those cytokines we talked about. I'm not making those things that kill the bacteria and the viruses, so I'm very susceptible. So that's probably the strongest association. Healthy muscle is a good reservoir for protein, so you can actually take some of the protein out of your muscle tissue and you can actually fight infections. But when you start to lose a lot of muscle, the immune system goes down. So with aging, at the age of 25, I'm sorry for this bad news, everybody, but at the age of 25, we start aging, which means we just lose a little tiny bit of muscle every year. And then when we hit 50, it's like, that's why I'm working out so much. It starts to go a little faster. And then the age of 70, it starts to accelerate. Now, that's the bad news, but the good news is if you get anyone who's older, and you guys are all beautiful and young, but you can start working on your muscle now by being physically active and walking, lifting weights or yoga, and eat healthy protein. A little bit more than the government minimum. And this is why it's so important with the older people in your family. Don't give them the tea and toast diet. If grandma just wants some tea and toast, give her a protein shake. Give her a protein bar. Give her some sardines on a salad, sardines and crackers. Any way you can get healthy protein into your grandparents or your parents who are getting older, it's a way to preserve that muscle mass. And that's why the recommendations are actually higher. And of course, it keeps their immune system strong. So, long answer there, sorry Nanoy, but please understand, we want to increase, as people get older, increase the protein requirements, keep the muscle strong, and make sure that they keep their immune system up so they don't get sick. Great question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Nonoy, for that question. May I call on Justin Adrales? There.
Hello.
Morning. Morning.
Good morning. Hi, Justin.
My question is, why hydration is important to our immune system, and what is the effect of dehydration to our body?
Great. Thank you, Justin. Sir, another fantastic question. I know you're all probably thinking, well, he says every question is fantastic, but I love these questions because they're very thoughtful and they directly relate to how the immune system works. You're asking about hydration, Justin.
Yeah.
It's very important. Think about a car. When you drive, if anyone drives a car, or even a motorcycle, but a car, you have fluid in the engine which moves through to keep the engine cool, and it keeps the engine running, and it keeps it efficient. Well, the human body has water and blood and different fluids, but it all starts with water. So hydration, your body is about 70% water. All the cells in the skin and the hair, there's a lot of hydration throughout the body. But the most important reason, as you are asking, Justin, for immune function, hydration brings in, it makes up your blood. So when you're more hydrated, you bring in more oxygenated tissue, like cells, to the area that needs to be, let's say, needs support, whether it's the heart or the kidneys or the liver, or the immune system, the different glands around the body. So you're bringing in more oxygen, more food, or let's say nutrition support to the body, to feed those areas so there's support. And at the same time, when you have healthy hydration, it also gets rid of toxins, lactic acid, byproducts that the immune system is making. Your cells are making things and destroying things, and cells are dying, and they need to be broken down, taken to the liver, and excreted in the tissues. And we excrete those whether we void when we go to the bathroom. So we have to get rid of these waste products, and hydration is very important. So if people are dehydrated, they're not as effective at getting efficient oxygen to the tissues, and they're not as efficient at getting rid of these toxins or these byproducts of cellular metabolism. So hydration is very important when you just think about the way that fluid moves to the body, whether it's in the joints, in the blood, in the tissues. And my last point would be hydration is really important in terms of keeping the body in a maintenance state. If you, Justin, went out and ran a marathon in any major city in the Philippines, you'd probably feel great when you're running if you're in good shape, but what happens is you lose a lot of fluid, and what happens is when people finish the marathon, they're very susceptible to getting a cold because they've lost so much hydration, their body is like not functioning very well. So the state of dehydration, people can get heat stroke and they can have all kinds of problems, but just in the most sensitive ways, people can get sick, and that's because the immune system doesn't have a lot of fluid helping them to function. So think about waste products getting away. You need fluid to get them out, and you need oxygenated fluid, blood getting in. So that's probably the two main things to be concerned with. Great question. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Sir Justin. May I now call on Sir Gabriel Diaz for the next question.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me? I just want to ask, what is the full range of health benefits that phytonutrients provide? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gabriel Diaz. Appreciate your question. So phytonutrients. This is, when I dress up for these events, I wear these little buttons, and the button has a little leaf, and we believe this is the aloe leaf. This was started like 40 years ago when the company was started. But the reason why the founder of the company and many of the scientists who came way before me, many years ago, they created these leaves as a mark of our nutrition philosophy, that we offer a lot of plant nutrients. And that's what we think of as phyto. Phyto is simply the Greek root word for plant-based, right? So phytonutrient is a plant nutrient. So I mentioned the tomato, the lycopene, which helps with prostate cancer and breast cancer. I can't say that we're curing cancer, but we know that there's a lot of research on cooked tomatoes, tomato paste, and cancer research. We don't know why the tomato is so powerful. The same thing with the blueberry is we think of it as a superfood because it has lutein and a lot of these polyphenols in it. Or the avocado and green leafy vegetables with lutein. So a lot of these things, they go, when we eat them, they go into the body's tissue and they protect the tissue. We don't know why yet. We just know it happens. So there's a lot of research. You're all journalists. You use your brain and your eyes a lot. There's a lot of research on why do avocados and blueberries protect the eyes and the brain. We believe they actually protect from dementia, from Alzheimer's, but we don't know why. But it seems that it's this lutein, these phytonutrient compounds that get absorbed, and that's why you should eat avocados and blueberries, but they get absorbed into the eyes and the brain tissue, and people protect from macular degeneration, from blindness, and it seems to protect the brain from getting Alzheimer's and other dementia, depression, because the tissue in your eyes connects into the brain tissue. It's the same actual tissue, the neural tissue. It's very interesting. So that's just one example of how these different plant compounds collect in the body and they protect certain areas. When it comes to the immune system, we know that a lot of these nutrients, when we eat them, they stimulate those bacteria in the gut, which are your immune cells, and they protect and they communicate and they say good things. So probably the most powerful thing is, let's say you're drinking a lot of green tea or you're eating tomatoes or avocados. Those foods go into the gut, they talk to the bacteria there, the bacteria communicate and they tell the body, hey, this is a good food, strengthen the immune defense, we're ready for any bacteria. If I eat a cheeseburger, which has a lot of fat and has something called lipopolysaccharide, that actually is very bad. It tells the body, hey, inflammation, the body goes on fire, and that creates issues like chronic disease. So we're still learning why plants tend to cool the body out, and things like a cheeseburger or a pizza or hot dogs and soda inflame the body. We're learning about this, but it's all done through the immune system. That's the key. Your immune system is not just for fighting colds. We talked about fighting the bacteria, the viruses, but the new science that we're trying to understand is people in the Philippines eating a Western diet, cheeseburgers and fried noodles and rice with lots of fat, not the things that your grandmother ate, are causing inflammation, and it's stimulating the immune system, not you, but a lot of the general public, to act in a bad way, causing inflammation and heart disease and Alzheimer's and diabetes. This is the problem we face in the Philippines, and we're trying to figure out what are the right foods. So we want to get away, and that's mostly it's reducing the omega-6, increasing the omega-3, but increasing the phytonutrients in those fruits and vegetables. So long answer, sorry, Sir Gabriel Diaz, but long answer to just say, eat your fruits and vegetables every day or supplement with the nutrients that have those phytonutrients. Thank you for your question. Very important.
Thank you, Sir Gab. In the interest of time, we're down to our last two questions. So, may I call on Sir Vince Samson?
Hello.
Hi,
Hi,
hello.
Dr. Luigi. It's a pleasure to meet a fellow Los Angeles. So
I love your hat.
I used to live in Los Angeles too. So now here in the Philippines. So
Fantastic.
it's good to Lakers too, right? As they would
Yes,
say. So
very
hope to
excited
visit
about
LA in the future again. My question is regards to the future. Based on the evolution of humanity, do you think we'll see humans with super immune systems in the near future?
This is a great question. And so, by the way, just for, I want to make sure I'm calling all the men sirs, and I want to make sure that I refer to Annabelle, the first person, as ma'am. Okay, so Annabelle, I just called you by your first name, but I want to make sure I formally address you as ma'am or miss, whatever you prefer. But Vince, to your question is fantastic. I think this is a really interesting thing. That, as I said, when I first came to visit the Philippines 15 years ago, the country had about 90 million people, 92 million, and I think the population currently is over 100 million. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So, which is incredible, which is wonderful, beautiful that the country is, prospering and people are having families. It's wonderful. But as we look at the pandemic, we know that the global population is now over 8 billion people. Many of you as journalists probably remember when we went over 7 billion, and we've gone to 8 billion, and now we're going to go to 10 billion people, probably by 2050, they think, okay? 2050, somewhere. So 2 billion more people. So to answer your question, Vince, when we have more people concentrated together, especially what we've seen with the pandemic, it's easier to pass a virus or a bacteria or a fungus, as we saw with this current pandemic. So this is why it's so important for us to strengthen our immune system, because most likely, whether it's in the Philippines, or in Manila, wherever you may be, or when you come back to Los Angeles, we have 14 million people in the city.
Ooh.
Everyone's crowded together. California, Vince, used to be spread out. You can drive anywhere. Now you sit in traffic for 2 hours, and that means when you go in the market, there are people breathing on each other. You go to the beach, there's people breathing next to each other.
Yeah.
It's easier to transmit viruses. So to your question, are we going to have super immune systems? Maybe. But what I think is going to happen first is we're going to have a lot more super viruses and super bacteria and super bugs, because a lot of these viruses and bacteria are infecting us right now and we're killing them, but some of them are going to figure out a way to get stronger. So we need to strengthen our immune system, and it's going to be nutrition is the key. Medicine is not going to do it, because whenever we take a medicine, it strengthens one thing, but it hurts 10 things. So nutrition is going to be the way that naturally we can feed the body. So I think there is a way to have our super strong immune systems, but it's going to mean that we need to live more like our grandparents did, being outside, getting healthy sun, healthy water, healthy food, healthy supplementation, and physical activity. That's going to be the key. Live like our grandparents. That's going to be the key.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It's a great question.
Thank you, Sir Vince. Final question, Dr. Luigi. You're such a inspiration to all of us. So I'm sure some people here are curious to know. Can you, as a final question, can you share a day in the life of Dr. Luigi Gerton? Like, what's your daily routine like?
Yes, yeah. So thank you for asking for my personal recommendations. For me, it starts with I get up in the morning and I like process. Going through medical school, you have to be in a process. So, you get up, you make your bed, I immediately make a shake. So the shakes that I showed many of you, the journalists, earlier, I've been drinking these shakes for actually 17 years because I did research with Herbalife a year before I joined the company, and I got the shakes for free back then. So I was drinking them a year before. In 2004, I was drinking Herbalife shakes. So I've been drinking them for almost 17 years. I love them because they're delicious, and I had protein shakes even before I started in Herbalife. I was drinking other types of protein shakes, but I like these because I know them and I promote them and I teach on them. So the point is that I have my shake first thing in the morning. My family enjoys a shake, but they drink different shakes than me. I like a sweet shake with cookies and cream. It's a flavor that I love. since we launched it. My wife likes to have a regular vanilla, and she puts spinach or frozen vegetables with blueberries, pineapple, mango. A lot of things you have wonderful fruits in the Philippines to sweeten it up and give fiber, and we drink that as a family. Now, I don't know the recommendations. I'll just say we drink that as a family, okay? So I also drink my aloe vera in the morning, and then I take my supplements. I take my fish oil. We have a calcium, magnesium, vitamin D tablet. I have a multivitamin tablet. These are all Herbalife products that we all use. I don't want to bore the media, but we have a number of products that are very basic. I add fiber to my shake. So there's about 7 products that I use first thing in the morning. But that's my habit. That's my process. Then we get the kids ready for school, and my wife drives them to school. I exercise right away, early in the morning. I lift weights in my garage. I have my weights during the pandemic, and now I go out in the street and walk. So I try and do 3 miles of walking, brisk walking every day up the hills here in Los Angeles. And that's how I start. And then I'll come back, and then I'll do all the work routine here in Los Angeles. I work in my home. Sometimes I go to the office with my mask, and I'll do some office work with the mask, but mostly at home. And then, of course, when the kids come back, I'll have, after I exercise, I have a second shake. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned. Now, I want to be very careful. In the Philippines, the regulation is very specific about how we have meals and how the government recommends things. So I don't want to promote drinking 6 shakes a day. I'm not allowed to do that. But me personally, I just want to be very sensitive to you as journalists. If you're writing newspaper articles, me personally, I have a shake before I exercise and a shake after for recovery to strengthen my muscle. But I just want to be very sensitive to Philippine regulation and the government regulation. We're not allowed to promote 6 shakes every day or 3 shakes a day. We have to be very careful, I believe. So just want to say that for the media purposes, okay? So I have at least 2 shakes. Sometimes I'll have a third at the end of the day before dinner. And then I take my supplements, like I said, mostly in the morning. Sometimes I'll have some in the afternoon if I do a second amount. But that's really my food and supplementation. I also eat lunch and dinner, and I often will have breakfast. I'll have some cereal with my kids and my family. So I eat regular food just like everybody else, but I often supplement because I'm trying to be healthy and active. I told you about when I put my kids to sleep around 8:30. In fact, when I finish the Zoom, I will take my clothes off, put my pajamas, and then I'll join my kids in bed and we read to them. And I try and get those 6 to 8 hours of sleep, although they're very difficult, to help strengthen the immune system and keep my body healthy. Many of us in corporate, I speak for the corporate team, like Anna and Marie and Shrita, we all work long hours and we work a lot. And so there's natural stress with our job, but we love our job and we try and maximize our sleep. So we try and find times to plug that in. But I would say that's a day in the life for me, getting the right food, the exercise, and the right sleep, and of course, socialization with my family and friends. So thank you for asking that question. That's me personally.
Well, thank you for sharing your routine. Every one of us will try that. Thank you also to our media friends for all the questions. So we're actually done with the question and answer. I don't want to hold you any longer because you will put the kids to sleep soon. Maybe you want to share any final message for our guests today before we have a quick photo op.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I would like to say, I hope when everything calms down and we can travel again, I love coming to Manila. I love the Philippines. I told people that all the time. So I hope I can come back and visit if they'll invite me. And I hope that we can invite all of you journalists to a lunch or a promotion that we can sit and talk and I can meet you in person, because I really appreciate your time and your effort in just asking questions and thinking about what we do in Herbalife Nutrition. So first, I will say I'd like to meet you in person when I come to visit, because I love coming to the Philippines. The culture, the people, the food, everything is beautiful there. So I hope to see you all there soon. But I would say second, and also importantly, as we're working through this unique situation globally, I would ask that everyone think about nutrition. I told you about the story about the zinc, my friend looking for zinc in New York. That's one example of how people are more thoughtful about their food and their supplements. And I think this is where we as a company can be very valuable to people. It's not just selling the supplement, but we have members who can talk to people and help counsel them and help, I should say coach them, because they're, our people aren't doctors or nurses, they're coaches. So I think this is a very valuable part of our company, not just the nutrition and the exercise, but the socialization and the coaching. So I'm very grateful for your attention and your participation, all of you in the media. And I'm sorry, I love to talk, so I talk a lot. I'm going to stop talking, but I'm really happy that you tuned in and you joined and you allowed me to talk and teach, because I really love doing that. So again, but I will look for you when I come to the Philippines to meet you all in person. So thank you for hosting me.
Thank you, Dr. Luigi. Before we end, can we ask all our media friends to turn on their cameras? We'll have a very quick photo opportunity with Dr. Luigi Gratton. And I would ask the help of Laika to take our photo.
Hi, good morning everyone. Please turn on your cameras so we can see your beautiful faces. Okay, ready? Big smile everyone. Okay, one more. Big smile everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Laika. Thank you again, Dr. Luigi. Before we close the program, I would just like to remind our media friends that we will be emailing you a short media survey form just to get your feedback on this session. Please take time to fill them up and submit back to us. And also, all attendees of this morning session will also receive a small token from Herbalife. These are products to help you get the nutrients that you need to boost your immune health. So we have F1 Shake and F2 Vitamin and Mineral. Thank you, everyone. See you all next month for our next Herbalife Wellness Tour. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Luigi. Good night.
Thank you. Good night and good day. Have a nice day, everybody.